Welcome to this video on using while loops with data structures. My name's Andy Wicks, and I've got to start off by telling you that this is one of the less useful videos that I'm creating, but I'm creating it to show you how you would do this sort of task. I'll show you at the end of this video a better way of doing what we're going to do. Everything here works with tuples and lists because they have a positional value. If you're working with sets or dictionaries, then this technique won't work because they don't have positional values for the items within them. So let's have a look at some code. Here we've got a block of code, and it starts with declaring a couple of variables. Position is going to be the position of whatever we're looking at in either the tuple or the list, and item is going to be the value of that item that we're looking at the moment. This bit of code is going to start from the user's point of view by asking them which person they would like. So we're getting a name from the user, and then we're going to hit this while statement. We're going to go round and round this loop whilst the position of the programmer we're looking for hasn't been found yet. But if the position is greater than the number of programmers, then we're going to hit a problem. So we don't want our code to fall over if we mistype a name. What we want is for the program to halt sensibly. So it's going to look at the length of the programmer's tuple and make sure that the position is less than that length. You'll remember that the positions are always one less than the items themselves. But we also need to check whether we've found the item. And that's what this bit at the end does. If the item value is still blank, then we haven't found what we're looking for. And so we want the loop to continue. Well, having decided what our while conditions are, we can now move into the loop itself. And the first thing we're going to do is to print the position we're looking at. We're going to use the end clause again to stop it all appearing on different lines. So instead of new lines appearing, we're going to have comma space so that it all appears on one line, as you'll see in a moment. Now we come to the bit that matters. If the programmer in position whichever one we're looking at has the name of whichever name we're looking for, then we're going to copy that name into item. Item now isn't blank anymore, and so that condition in the while loop isn't fulfilled, and the while loop will stop. Now we need this final line in this section, position plus equals 1, to ensure that we don't get into an endless loop. If that wasn't there, the value of position would never change, and if it never changes, you're in an endless loop. And that's quite easy to do with while loops. We don't want that to happen, so what we're doing is we're increasing the value of position by 1 every time it goes round the loop. And in that way we can ensure that if we hit the end of the list, then we're happy and nothing else is going to cause a problem. So once this loop finishes, either because we've run out of list or because we've found the item that we'd like, then we move down to this next section of code. If the value of item is blank, then it hasn't found that thing that we were looking for. It hasn't found the name that was entered by the user. So it says, sorry, that wasn't here. If we have found it though, it prints the name. And in that way, we can find out whether we've found the item or not. So let's run this code. It starts by asking which person we would like. So let's type in Alan. And if we type in Alan, what we get is 0, 1, 2, 3, and then Alan. Alan is at position 3 in the list. Alan is the fourth item because the numbering starts from 0. But what happens if we type in a name that doesn't exist? Let's try Alan with 2 L's. As you can see, it gives us a list of all the numbers of items in the list and says, sorry, that wasn't here. Our program didn't fall over merely because we misspelt something. So let's make this a bit easier. We've got quite a lot of code here. Isn't there a better way of doing this? Well, as promised, there is. You can use an ordinary if statement to do exactly the same as what's done above. we can say if name in programmers, so it looks at the name that we've typed in and sees whether it can find that name in the list of programmers. So if the name is there, it prints name is at the position in the list, otherwise it prints sorry, that wasn't there. So let's try running this twice, once with the correct value and once with an incorrect one. We'll type in the correct one first, and so we'll type in Alan, and what we get is Alan is in the list at position 3, which is something that we knew, and we've used a lot less code to find him. Now let's try another one. Let's try something that doesn't exist. We know that Alan has only one L, but let's suppose we've typed in 2 as we did in the previous example. What do we get? We get sorry, that wasn't here. So in either case, whether we've typed the name incorrectly or incorrectly, we get a program that runs.